Still doing that. Okay. My name is Corinne Turner, and I'm part of the rehab team here at Palmdale Regional Medical Center. I want to welcome you to the Valley's first sports injury prevention seminar. And my role is just to give you some basic logistics. I want to thank several of the young women here, Giovanna Becerra, Melina Granda, Columba Perez, and Yahara Vasquez. They're students from Palmdale High School, and they are four-year students in the Health Career Academy program. They've helped to organize this entire seminar as their senior project, and they will be introducing today's speakers.
For our first guest speaker, I would like to introduce Steve Wilson. Mr. Wilson is the founder and director of Palmdale High School Sports Medicine Program. He has been a teacher and coach for 40 years. He worked as an assistant athletic trainer at the Seattle Seahawks summer camp, coached track and cross country at Eastern Washington University and at Antelope Valley Community College. He is a certified National Association of EMS educator, certified National CERT trainer, certified American Heart Association First Aid and CPR instructor. Over the last 24 years, he has worked for Palmdale Health Careers Academy and has done an amazing job.
Thank you. I'd just like to invite, glad you're all here, and we've been trying for several years to put together the coaches and the medical staffs from the different facilities. I know as a coach, I kind of cringe to send a kid to the doctor because it's going to be 2 weeks, and maybe we could get him back quicker if we had a little more insight. And at the same time, I've had kids go in for a concussion and come back with a note saying, okay, to practice on Monday. So we're trying to put it into all that and trying to make everybody on the same page. I'd also like to thank the chiropractors, several of you sitting here today that have helped it on our sidelines. We definitely need some more help on the sidelines. If anybody, if we have any doctors or medical staff who would be interested in helping us, we really appreciate that help. I also want to thank Palmdale Regional Medical Center for all their help in putting this together, and I hope you all get something out of this. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Rick Norris, Chairman of the Board of Governing here at Palmdale Regional.
Good afternoon and welcome to Palmdale Regional. If you haven't been here, this is a big first-class hospital. So if you have future needs, we'd like to see you here. If you don't have, then you're welcome to come visit, but we want to welcome you as the athletic directors, the trainers, and the community sports, so that we can start preventing some of these sports injuries. It's important that we feel here at the hospital that it's a healthcare issue that we need to address. And when Steve came to Young Son, and then it just started growing into a huge ball of energy, we were able to put on this sports injury prevention program. We feel there's a need. We feel that we can start addressing those issues here in the community. And I think working with you people, we will now understand how to prevent sports injuries. I'd like to take a minute and thank the very special people that made this all happen. First of all, you just met or heard from Steve Wilson. He's the one that came to the program 2 years ago. He tried to get a program going, was unsuccessful until he went to our physical therapy department, our rehab and orthopedic specialist, and Young Son stepped up to the ball, and then he made the calls, twisted the arms, and said, we need to make this happen. So I'd like to thank those two, the volunteers and the staff, Julie, Jody, Corinne, sitting there in those meetings, helping to plan this out. I think they need to be recognized for the job. As a special note, we started by addressing what did we want this to be. And we've been talking about how let the kids keep playing, addressing sports injuries, but now our organizational foreknow is keep kids playing for life. And we're going to do that with this presentation. As we get older, we're going to continue to play. The younger members of our community now know that they're going to be addressed, and we're going to prevent whatever injuries we can on the sports field. So again, welcome to Palmdale Regional Medical Center, and thank the staff and the administration for giving us all the support we needed to put this on. And thank you to the volunteers. They made it.
Now I would like to introduce Derek Hagan. Derek Hagan grew up in Palmdale and graduated from Palmdale High School in 2002. Hagan is an Arizona State University graduate with a degree in interdisciplinary studies and holds countless records as the school's all-time leading wide receiver in every statistical category. This past October, Hagan was inducted into the Arizona State Hall of Fame. At one time, he was the Pac-12's all-time leading receiver with 258 receptions. He was drafted in the third round of 2006 NFL Draft to the Miami Dolphins and has since played for teams such as the Oakland Raiders and New York Giants. After playing the 2014 season with Tennessee Titans, 9-year NFL veteran partnered with Game Breaker Helmets, a soft shell helmet company, to put kids of all ages in the best protective gear available to them. Game Breaker is the #1 leading soft shell helmet company on the market, first certified and safety tested.
Thank you for that introduction. Appreciate it. First off, I just want to thank everybody for having me out here. When these ladies asked me to come out and speak to you guys this past, actually, you guys asked me in September? What did I do? I couldn't pass it up. This was an opportunity just to come out here and really be a part of something special because, concussions is a very serious issue in the NFL. I was fortunate enough to play a long time in the NFL. Not too many people know about the issues when it comes to concussions. I was fortunate enough not to have had any type of head injury or any injury throughout my NFL career. It was a blessing to play that long, but I've seen so many different players and friends that have had this issue when it comes to concussions. Obviously some players have had memory loss. Some players, they really have a tough time really coming back from that type of injury. But, I know the NFL, they're trying to really do what they need to do to really try to prevent this. And it's one thing that everybody's still trying to understand. And the NFL is trying to make the game safer. That's what it really comes down to, is trying to keep each and every player safe, not only at the NFL level, but all the way down to high school, to the youth level, and so on and so on. So it's very serious, not just for football. So I'm not just speaking football. I'm talking about soccer, water polo, volleyball, MMA, boxing, women's lacrosse. It's very serious, and this is what it's about. It's people understanding just the lasting effects. I don't know if you guys just speaking on the NFL. There's huge lawsuits going around in terms of CTE, which is a brain injury, and this is dating back, way back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and on to now. These players have had issues, and NFL, it's going to be a huge problem once this lawsuit gets settled in the courts, because a lot of older guys are really complaining about the issues that they had, and and I think in 2 weeks, there'll be a concussion movie coming out, which I would recommend just everybody to go out and see. I was fortunate enough to see it last week. It's very serious, and something that this doctor really put a lot of time into, and coming up with it, and knowing that a lot of players are going through this type of issue. So, like I said, I'm very thankful to be here. It's an honor, to be back in Palmdale, to be in front of you guys, to talk to you a little bit about concussions. And like I said, for myself, it's very serious. I don't want to scare anybody away as far as concussions goes. I definitely want kids to continue to play sports, because that's what we love to do. Like I said, I was fortunate enough to play a long time, almost maybe 25 years playing football. This year was the first season where I didn't have a chance to play, but for any athlete out there, cherish every moment. Cherish it. It's a lot of fun. We all love playing sports. This is what we're all here, and let's continue to do it. Thank you.
Here to talk to us about CIF rules and regulations is Mr. Rob Wigod. Rob Wigod is the CIF Southern Section Commissioner and Professor in the Concordia University of Master's Degree Program in Coaching and Athletic Administration. He received his Bachelor's of Arts in History from California State University of Long Beach and a Master's degree in Education from Azusa Pacific University. On August 2nd, 2011, Rob became the 9th Commissioner of Athletics for the CIF Southern Section, where he oversees an organization of 584 member high schools that offer 24 sports for boys and girls.
Thank you very much. As the father of a senior and high school daughter, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that nice introduction. And I want to thank a few people before I start. Certainly want to thank Jeff Williams, my friend from Palmdale High School. Jeff and I have been together a long time, and he does a great job here. I know a lot of you know him, but he's a guy that has a much bigger picture than just the area he works in. He's a very influential guy, not only here, but in our section and even throughout the state of California. So thank you, Jeff, for inviting me, and Rick, for all the good work you're doing here at the Medical Center and allowing this to happen. And where's Corinne? I promised her that I'm first up. I promise you I won't go too long. And but I do appreciate the opportunity. Let me begin and say congratulations to you, because we're proud of you too, Derek. You're the kind of people that we do this for, so that you go out and do great things after you leave high school, and then you come back to your community and you give back. So that's the idea, and we appreciate it. So here we go. We'll talk about concussion a little bit, but I know that's coming. I want to talk more about our rules and regulations and things that are going on. So this presentation I'm showing you today, and I'm going to go through it fairly quickly, is available on our website. Our website is www.cifss.org, and this presentation today is there, and it's there to try to explain to our school people and to everybody out there what's happening in the world of concussion protocol and some of the rules that have been passed. So when we talk about concussion, it talks about the brain injury, it talks about the jolt that the brain receives. Sometimes you can get concussions not even hit in the head. Your body can be struck in such a manner that your brain will move inside of its case. And so you can receive concussions in a lot of different ways. In the past, they just looked at them as, a grade, you would say, the mild and the severe and the different grades that were going on. And these were the things that were done. You would actually, get your bell rung, you want to call it. You come off the sideline, and the doctor would look at you, and then maybe 15, 20 minutes, and maybe it was halftime, you'd come out, and then, oh yeah, you're good to go. You go ahead, you fill out back there, go ahead. Well, then there's also moderate that they would hold you out till you stop being dizzy, or the symptoms would go away. And then obviously the grade 3 was the severe concussion. So we started to see that the research was telling us there's more to it than just putting these grades on it. There was more to it than these sort of elementary, look at the person, try to get a sense of where they're coming from, et cetera, et cetera. So they started working on some other things. Long-term effects, we know we're hearing a lot about that. And then there were lots of different conferences and things done to try to study this more and get more idea about what to do in the area of concussion management. Now this is where it got significant for us. We're an organization, CIF Southern Section. We're a group that we make our own rules. I don't know that people always realize that. I think people think, well, I'm the commissioner, I'm in charge, I make the rules, I tell everybody what to do. No, I don't even tell everybody what to do in my own house. I got a wife, 2 daughters, and a female dog. So you get it? Like I get nothing. I'm the only one who likes me is the dog. Everybody else. But in the CIF environment, our membership, the Palmdales, and the Valencias, and the Little Rocks, and the Paracletes, and the people here today, these are the folks that make our rules, not me. And what happened was very significant. For one of the first times in recent memories, our government decided to get involved. And they decided to get involved with an issue like this, like concussion and so forth. Well, we were actually ahead of them. Before this bill that you see here that was brought in 2014, we had actually already passed a rule about concussions. Our rule was you could go back to play again. You remember that slide a couple before where it said, you know, you came off the field and the doctor could look at you and send you back. Well, we already passed a rule before this, and we said, no, if you have the concussion or the symptoms of a concussion, you're not going back. Practice, game, the same day, you're not going back. So we got ahead of that a little bit, but now our government decided to get involved. And there was an assembly bill that was passed, and it started a new, different thing for us all going forward. And so what it said was, we were gonna now limit full contact practices in football. We were going to say that each week, Monday through Saturday, or whatever the football team is scheduled to do, we don't have anything on Sundays, you would only be allowed 2 full contact practices, both the preseason and regular season. Excuse me. So, they cannot last longer than 90 minutes, and there's nothing at all during the off season. Spring, summer, winter, the off season for high school football. No contact, no helmets, no shoulder pads, nothing at that time of year. Once you're in the season, you got 90 minutes. Corinne, you're just too advanced for me. So here we go. No contact during the season, during the off season, 90 minutes in a week. And that's it. That came from the government, not from us. So then we had to adapt the government, what they wanted to do, to the rules that we have, and we've done that. So here's some things that now we have going on. If the athlete suspected of sustaining concussion, they're immediately removed from the activity for the remainder of the day. We already had that. So the government was behind us on that one. They cannot be permitted until they're evaluated by a licensed healthcare provider. Now we're here at a medical center today. Sometimes people, what does that mean? Who is a licensed medical or healthcare provider? For us, it's a physician, or a doctor of osteopath, what we call a DO. That's it. So with no disrespect to anybody, we aren't talking about anybody else but doctors and DOs, or physicians and DOs. Next, they cannot permitted to return until they receive the written clearance. So not only will they be seen by those people, they must then get in writing a clearance to come back. So again, this came in a government bill, AB 2127. And so it started to basically say, you know, whatever you're doing, this is what is going to be state law. And it's now state law, it's been that way since. If the healthcare provider determines the athlete had a concussion or head injury, they will also do return to play protocol of no less than 7 days. This is huge. This has been the huge new rules, adjustments, protocols is the word, that are now under CIF mandate, not just here for our section in the southern section, but all over the state. All over 1,500 high schools from the Oregon border to the Mexico border and east of Arizona, Nevada. Every school in this state is now bound by this. So there you go, 7 days. These are the return to play protocols. In other words, what we're saying is it's a minimum of 7 days. It's never going to be less than 7 days. But it's also going to include the steps that you need to be able to follow and then pass. You need to be able to show that you are able to move from step 1 to step 2 before you're allowed to return to play. So I'll get a little more specific for you. So for example, this is now the CIF return to play protocol. And you begin the protocol once you're diagnosed with concussion, you begin the protocol. At any time during the protocol, during these steps, if you aren't at that level, then you stop and you go back until you can show that you're capable of moving to the next step. So this 7 days we talk about could actually be longer based on the ability of that student to show and to be symptom-free, as we talked about. And so that's a really significant deal. So you're never getting down there before 7 days, and it may be longer. but so what? As long as it's being done right and safe. So, also at the bottom, we always recommend that a certified athletic trainer or somebody in that role would monitor you. So as you do the steps, that you are being monitored by a trained professional who is obviously familiar and comfortable and knows this stuff very, very well. So, as we said, initial stages, they must take a minimum of 6 days. You must resume academics. See, one of the first things that happens when students have concussions is they don't go back to school. They're not ready yet. Their brain needs to rest. So it's not even about running on a field or running on a court. It's about your brain needs to rest. So you don't even go to school right away. I mean, that's the recommendation. And you must complete the one unrestricted full contact practice before you can go back. And if your symptoms go back, then you have to stop and go back. So like we said, we're trying to monitor very closely how the students go through this. So now, let's talk a little bit more specific. There's step one. These are the things that you need to show. Full rest for 2 days after your diagnosis. This is to allow you and document our form. See, that's the point. We're not only going to observe you in the protocols and go through the steps and the stages, but we're going to have a written record of it. And that's what this form is for. And then there would be the next ones. You can see it says light aerobic activity. What does that mean? It means 10 to 15 minutes. Walking or stationary bike. Must be watched by somebody to do that. So that trainer, whoever's monitoring, is going to watch you do that. Check your heart rate. If you can pass that, then you can move to the next one. Aerobic activity, 20, 30 minutes. But you get the idea of these steps, that you're going to do these things, and each one of them you have to show that you're able to do it. And again, who's the concussion monitor? The trainer, physician, somebody's going to be monitoring this to make sure that you're able to do it. But you can't move to the next one until you've completed the one before. And that's a huge and significant change. And again, you're still going to get written clearance if you're going to return to play and go into stage 3. So here we go. Now we're in stage 3. Now we're talking about limited contact practice to make sure the student is being carefully watched as they do some contact drills. And scrimmaging, is not allowed yet. You're just going to do some tackling drill maybe. You're going to do something where you are going to have some contact. And then you'll go to the full contact practice. And you'll have to basically be able to show that you can do game-like activities and you're okay without symptoms and you're okay to do it. And as you see at the very end, you can return to play. That's provided you've passed the protocols, you've been monitored, and you've been noting the date of the diagnosis and so forth. So these are some of the provisions that are necessary in this protocol going back. And again, the full contact would include the live scrimmage. And so then you keep the file, you keep the form, and now you've got this record of the student, and you've got them from start to finish, from the day they were diagnosed, all the way through the steps of the return to play protocol. And these are not only, CIF rules, if you want to call them that, they're state law. And now we're on the same page. What are the legal responsibilities? You must be removed for the remainder of the day. There is no way you can return or stay out there if you have any suspected concussion. You must be evaluated by the licensed healthcare provider and get written clearance. Must. Mandate. If you are diagnosed with concussion by the licensed healthcare provider, then you must complete the protocols that I just talked to you about in no less than 7 days. And you must be supervised by a licensed healthcare provider. We've come a long way from where concussion management, diagnosis, and return to play protocol used to be. Are we done? No. Will we continue to look at other ways to continue to keep our health and safety of our student athletes first? Absolutely. No matter what we do. We're known for giving out trophies. We're known for championships. None of it matters unless the health and safety of the student athletes is first. It will always be that way. We've been around for 103 years. And that is always first and foremost in our minds for what we do for the young people that we're lucky enough that we get to serve. So, again, we have also, not just with concussion, we have now branched out into other issues such as sudden cardiac arrest. We now have mandatory coaches training. We've had mandatory coaches training on concussion management for years. We now have included sudden cardiac arrest training so that our coaches are now getting that information to start to recognize that situation, unfortunately, if it ever happens. So as the CIF organization, we have this responsibility. And in working together with our membership, who make the rules, as we said, we bring these things forward, they bring these things forward, and we try to bring them all together in the interest of protecting our young people. So we're proud of the advances that have come, but as I said before, we're not finished. And as more awareness continues and more studies are done and more information is available, I have every expectation that our organization will continue to stay out there and try to be a leader in how to make sure that students are safe. So I thank you for your attention and I wish you all the best. Enjoy the rest of this day and congratulations for doing this today. I think it's a fantastic idea. Appreciate it. Thank you.